This is one of my good friends.
What's your guys' favorite memory together?
I've ate her ass like 10 times.
Andrew Callaghan is a 26-year-old dude living in a van who drives all across America with two friends in order to interview people for their YouTube channel. He is one of the best journalists there are. In this video I want to find out where he came from and why his journalism feels so refreshing and trustworthy.
What's up, Dopio? I'm Andrew.
Callaghan was born in Philadelphia in 1997. While growing up in Seattle, he hated every single class of school, except for journalism, which he then later studied in New Orleans at Loyola University. While working as a doorman to support himself, he witnessed a lot of quote-unquote hellish scenes in the streets of New Orleans, which inspired him to start a YouTube and Instagram series called Quarter Confessions after graduating in 2018.
I would say one of my deepest, darkest secrets is I can suck my own penis right here, right now.
Around this time, he also published a documentary from a 70-day road trip he did before going to university, called All Gas No Brakes, A Hitchhiker's Diary. This obviously then became the inspiration for his instantly successful YouTube channel All Gas No Brakes, which he created in partnership with Doing Things Media in 2019. The idea for this channel was relatively simple. Andrew Callaghan and his two friends Nick and Evan would drive all across America in an RV, visiting different conventions and other interesting places in order to interview random people there.
What the hell is going on?
It started off as a very comedic, light-hearted project that mainly focused on parties and weird conventions, but over the time, All Gas No Brakes evolved into an actual news source. They started to go to protests and political rallies, while still sticking to their very comedic editing style, which made them very unique and entertaining.
We will be heard. Y'all don't want to listen, you gonna feel us. And fuck Trump.
This actual journalism, however, led to problems with Doing Things Media. They had signed a development deal for a TV adaptation of All Gas No Brakes in May 2020 and wanted Callaghan to stick to party content. The conflict between Andrew and them escalated. They locked him out of every All Gas No Brakes account, threatened to fire him if he didn't comply with their demands, and when he didn't, they went through with it. Andrew had signed a very bad contract with them back when he started All Gas No Brakes, which gave them all the rights and intellectual property of the channel. So there wasn't really anything he could do, which is why after only 14 months, this incredibly viral and successful channel Callaghan and his friends built up from the ground was taken from them and killed. This may have been the end of All Gas No Brakes, but luckily it was only the beginning of Andrew Callaghan's career. And this is where it gets funny. Even though the TV adaptation of All Gas No Brakes had failed after the split up between Callaghan and Doing Things Media, the network which had originally ordered the series, Absolutely Productions, still wanted to work with Callaghan, even if that meant abandoning Doing Things Media and their All Gas No Brakes brand.
I don't really have anything to say other than congratulations on your deal with Absolutely.
So Absolutely Productions teamed up with Callaghan to make the documentary This Place Rules about the US 2020 presidential election. And Doing Things Media was left with nothing. By the way, fun fact, This Place Rules was not only co-released by A24, the currently best entertainment company out there in my opinion, it also had Jonah Hill as an executive producer. And I really like this guy, so nice.
Enjoy fucking Jules!
I will!
Anyway, Andrew Callaghan, Nick Mosher and Evan Gilbert Katz then started a completely new YouTube channel, Channel 5, in 2021, with the same concept as All Gas No Brakes.
I'm not gonna show my tits!
Come on, I'll do it for you.
The only real difference now was that this channel was completely independent and mainly funded through Patreon. It quickly became as successful as their prior show, and they found a good balance between more serious political topics and funny, weird events in my opinion.
If the Sinaloa cartel sliced up everyone in Texas and New Mexico, what do you think America would do, based on what you know America to be today?
I especially appreciate their newest videos about the homeless crisis in San Francisco and Philadelphia, because I've witnessed the extent of this problem first-handedly, and I really think it's something that should be discussed more in a constructive way. But before I dive deeper into how Andrew Callaghan conducts interviews and makes me trust his work, we have to talk about one more thing. In January of 2023, 2 women came forward on TikTok accusing Callaghan of trying to pressure them into having sex with him. He addressed the allegations by posting a YouTube video.
I thought that persistence was a form of flattery, and I thought that, if at first somebody was reluctant, they're playing hard to get. This type of sex pest behavior is normalized. That being said, a lot of the things that have been said online about me are not true.
You can watch the entirety of this apology yourself. I will link it in the video description. As far as I can tell, he took accountability for his actions that were only verbal and not physical from what I know. So to me it seems like a genuine apology and effort to better his ways. But you're definitely entitled to your own opinion about that. Anyway, let's get into detail about what's wrong with the current journalistic landscape and how Channel 5's style of interviewing is a positive example for good journalism.
DD Mega Doo-Doo, Mangudu.
It's a tough time to be a journalist. If you want to survive, you have to adapt to the internet, but that also means playing by completely different rules. Not only do most people expect your work to be free, it's also a faster and much more polarized environment. Your paycheck also isn't determined by playing by some rules anymore. Instead, the best way to make money is by being as bold as possible in order to get people to click. In many ways, being a journalist isn't that different from being a YouTuber nowadays. And this is obviously a problem. The qualities of good journalism, objectivity and substance, are contrary to what's monetarily rewarded in the internet. This has led to a steep decline in the quality of and trust in journalism, which in turn is a huge problem for our democracy. Private news outlets now mostly rely on sensationalism and the creation of enemies, which is why more and more people stopped consuming mainstream media altogether. This is where the genius of Andrew Callaghan's approach to journalism comes in. With major news outlets, it often feels like they want to sell you something by pushing a certain agenda. That's not even a hot take really. It's very clear that Fox News or CNN, for example, have a very clear target audience and political agenda, which makes it seem like their journalistic opinions on certain topics are already formed before actually researching anything. There's an undeniable bias in these organizations, which makes them completely useless in my opinion. Why would I watch a reporting on a new thing Trump did or say, for example, if I already know this one organization will praise him and the other one will rip him apart no matter what he actually did or say? There's absolutely zero value in this perpetuation of rigid worldviews, and it's completely contrary to how journalism should function. And thank God Andrew Callaghan understood that. Instead of catering to one specific political demographic, he simply presents himself as a naive dude interested in abnormal people. He actively tries to be as indirect and neutral as possible, in order to let the people he's interviewing be their authentic selves. And this works. The format not only feels much more honest than most news shows, it's also incredibly successful. It's so interesting to hear those talk who are normally just talked about, like homeless people for example. By simply giving them a voice, he humanizes the fringe groups that are often demonified by progressive or conservative media, like members of Black Lives Matter, drug addicts, or QAnon believers.
How does that make you feel?
Sad, I cry all the time.
No matter what you think about these groups, it's incredibly important to see that most of these people aren't horrible monsters that want to kill you and your family. They are humans, like you and me. And Channel 5 shows that, without doing anything except for giving them a platform to be themselves. That's why I appreciate them so much. And I'm really glad that while the internet made a lot of journalism much worse, there are also at least some people who are now doing incredible independent reporting that wouldn't have been possible 20 years ago. So while the world may be on a downward spiral, I think there's also much to appreciate. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a nice day.